welcome to Scale Car Garage. Well, I thought we'd take a little look at a piece of scenery on our track. And it's a piece of scenery that I think is kind of neat, and certainly every slot car track should have one of these. They were certainly present at real tracks in the 60s, 70s, 80s, yeah, and even now. Anyway, not to be too cryptic, but let me show you what I'm talking about here at Scale Car Garage. Right, so here we are at our track, and you can see there's still a lot of scenery that needs to be done. But there's one piece of scenery that we did that every track has at some point. A helicopter. Every track needs a helicopter because most races, certainly Formula One even today, has helicopter shots. So we thought it would be best to put a helicopter on our track. But let me take you through the helicopter build first, because it is kind of neat. And then we'll take you over to the track here and show you what the helicopter looks like.
The first viable live helicopter reporting platform was implemented by National Helicopter Service in Los Angeles, California for station KTLA on July 3, 1958. The helicopter used for this groundbreaking change in TV news coverage was the Bell 47 G2. The KTLA Telecopter utilized a transmitter and antenna that would send a signal to a receiver on the ground, which would then broadcast the video images taken by the helicopter cameraman. As you can see, with the state of technology at the time, the amount of hardware necessary to make this system work was immense. This type of Bell helicopter was used quite extensively in film and television production. In fact, it was used as the basis for the Batcopter, which is actually still flying. So we decided to use this type of helicopter to create a piece of scenery which would appear to be documenting the racing action around our track. We needed a camera operator, so I recast figures from Monogram's Newsmen and Vendors figure set. We purchased and assembled a 1/35th scale Revell Bell H13 model, which is a variant of the Bell 47 G2. This kit included a wonderful pilot figure, which we also molded and cast in resin. To create the camera operator, we utilized the lower half of the pilot figure and the upper half of the standing cameraman figure. The figures were detailed and assembled to fit in the cockpit of the helicopter. Various positions in the helicopter were tried for the camera operator, with the final placement having him leaning out of the cockpit at an angle. With the figures now in place, the assembly of the helicopter was completed. We now have an eye in the sky of our own. To display the camera copter on our track, a stand was built from scratch using clear acrylic for the base and piano wire to suspend the helicopter in the air, trying to give it a look of being flown over the track, capturing all of the racing action and recording it for posterity. This design allowed the helicopter to be placed at various locations around the track, with its home base position being over the start-finish straight.
So here is our helicopter, and as you can see, we've tried to position it as if it would be sending a signal to some sort of truck or maybe filming, or in an active way, an active pose, I should say, on our track. And what's really neat is that to watch cars go by and see the helicopter kind of hovering, although main rotor doesn't rotate, but well, you get the idea. I think it looks really good here. So why don't we take it off the track, and I will take it over to the workbench so you can have a more close-up look at it. Let's do that right now. Here we go. What I really like about it is, well, one, that we can actually rotate the helicopter. Look at that, isn't that cool? So it can really you can orient it in any direction you like, which is really kind of neat. You can actually put the cars running underneath it as they would if the helicopter was in the air taking images. And the other thing I like to do once in a while, especially when I'll say racing with our daughter, is a little bit of a distraction, is to go up and just give it a bit of a nod like that. And I think that looks really kind of interesting. It certainly distracts sometimes, although I think it distracts me more than it distracts her. But I think that's really kind of cool. So I just thought I would take it off its pedestal here, and I will show you how much flex there is in the stand. You see how when you put it back in to its mount, which is which I will show a close-up of. Oops, here we go. Should put my glasses on for this. Oh, here we go. I'm going to do this without my glasses. I can do it. Hey, no glasses. You can see that the weight of the model itself arcs the piano wire. And I think that's absolutely brilliant. And all I can say is, I wish it was down to mathematics. This is just pure luck. And a little trial and error. But actually, this was the first attempt. It just lucked out, really just lucked out. The important part, though, is to put a grommet of some sort, whether it's brass or, in this case, we used an aluminum tube, which actually the piano wire fits in, and you can see that grommet right there. And it makes a world of difference, because if you don't put the grommet in, you've got metal against plastic, and when you put metal against plastic, plastic usually loses. So that's usually what happens. But as you can see, I mean, you could even have it statically placed on tarmac if you like, although it looks like the cameraman's taking action shots of flowers. But I just wanted to show you how much this model actually weighs with the two figures and the engine. It's really quite something. So, but it adds to the kinetic possibilities of the piece of scenery. And it's neat that it actually has some kinetics to it. But there's not only a grommet put, I'm sorry, let me backtrack just a minute. There's not only a grommet put in the model itself, but also in the base, because it's a piece of acrylic. And it was cut in a triangle. So there's a grommet here, which allows for it to swing back and forth, as you can see. And allows, of course, a grommet in the model, which allows the model to be rotated without any issue. I think it does a great job. So there you go. This is Kits Spa's helicopter. I really hope you enjoyed this little peek at a piece of scenery that we have on our track. We certainly had a ball building it. By the way, the rotor does rotate. You know, I think if we did it over again, I'd want to put a little motor in there. But then you'd have to have some sort of power source, and it's fine. It's fine the way it is. It's fine the way it is. But you always look at things sometimes and think, what if I did this? but that's okay. Anyway, I blundered on. My apologies. Thank you so much for being with me as I take you through this little part of the scenery on our track here at Scale Car Garage.
I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe.